Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Social Marketing Academy. I am your host, Christopher Tompkins. We have an awesome show today. I'm really excited because I'm always excited, but I am actually excited as usual. I love talking about marketing. You know, I'm a total nerd. So we are going to be talking to Brian Meert. Brian Meert is thebomb.com when it comes to digital advertising, and he's one of my go-to guys to ask any kind of next level digital advertising questions when it comes to Facebook or what have you. So you posed some amazing questions for him through direct messages and emails through to me and tweets. So I really appreciate them. We're going to pose those to Brian today. But in just 1 minute, I'm going to give you some more detail on Brian and bring him into our conversation. So on the Social Marketing Academy, what my goal is here is to give you access to all of the members in my network. These are experts from lots of different fields, such as Brian, who's an expert in digital advertising. These are people that are going to give you pretty much a free consultation for an hour, which you usually have to pay quite a bit of money for. So free is good. And the information is going to be even better and more suitable for you because you're generating it. I ask anybody that's watching this or listening to this on the podcast version, if they want to pose any questions about a future topic that they would like to hear on a future episode of the Social Marketing Academy, or a specific question about any marketing topic online or offline that you would like to explore. This show is built for you. I want to take businesses of different levels, whether you're a small or a large or what have you. This is information that you can utilize in real time to kind of bring your campaigns to the next level, look at marketing in a different way, and maybe understand concepts that are a little bit elusive to you. So if you would like to learn more about our show, I really urge you to go to my agency's website. I own a digital marketing agency called The Go Agency. We've been around for over 10 years, offering campaigns to lots and lots of different companies all over the world. But if you go to my website, gosalesandmarketing.com, you'll be able to get in touch with me, which is most important. So all of the social media links in the top right-hand corner, any of those will go to social media that are fed through to me eventually. So if you have any questions, direct message me on those. We have a chat on our website as well. You can ask questions there or go through our contact form. All of these places are ways for you to get involved with the show. Also, if you want to subscribe on our YouTube channel, where you can watch this, we are on Facebook as well. And also we're on podcasts wherever you listen to them, Stitcher, Apple, what have you. So that's enough there, but check out the website. Lots of great information there as well. But let's talk about digital advertising and Brian Meert. So Brian is the CEO of AdvertiseMint. It is a mint, AdvertiseMint, which I love that name, a Hollywood-based digital advertising agency that specializes in helping successful companies advertise on Facebook. So AdvertiseMint has managed millions of dollars in digital ad spends in entertainment, fashion, finance, and software industries. Brian's also the author of the best-selling The Complete Guide to Facebook Advertising and the innovative The Complete Guide to Digital Advertising Policies infographic. He is a 15-year digital advertising executive and is a member alongside myself of the Forbes Agency Council, where we are featured contributors, both of us. Prior to founding AdvertiseMint, Brian built and sold Gafobo.com, an online ticketing system that revolutionized the entertainment industry and is now utilized by Warner Brothers and Disney. This guy is no joke. He is serious. He knows exactly what he's talking about. And I think he's going to be able to bring a lot to the table in terms of you fully understanding how to utilize Facebook advertising for your own company, whether you have a small budget or a large budget. We'll dive into that probably at some point during our conversation. But here he is. Brian, welcome to the Social Marketing Academy.
Hey, it's good to be here. Hi, everybody.
So, Brian, I always say this kind of at the top of the show when we're introducing one of my friends. Can you just kind of say a few words about yourself, so how the audience can get to know you a little bit better?
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much for having me here. My name's Brian. I've been doing digital marketing for about 20 years. I started with Google Ads, running my own business. I used actually my cafeteria money while I was in college to try to run my own Google Ads. So there would be days where I was like, yeah, I'm crushing it. And the next day I'd have no sales. And I'm like, I'm not going to eat for like a week. I got to figure this out. And so I've always taken advertising, very seriously. Like, the dollars that go in there, that's someone's, that's the business, the lifeblood of a business. I'm the CEO of AdvertiseMint. We're an agency based out of Los Angeles. We're known a lot for Facebook advertising, but we do a lot with Google and TikTok and Amazon. And it's such a fascinating time right now with all the changes that are happening in the digital world, where you can be able to spend less and have your dollars go further to grow your business if you know what you're doing and you're usually using these platforms in the right way.
Yeah, well said. And this is I want to dive right into the first question, because there's a lot of questions that were asked, and I kind of chose 5 that were the most asked. But obviously, I'm going to use this time to get some of my own questions answered. So let's jump in. Oh my God. Okay, so this question wasn't asked about a million times, and I've heard it asked during when I'm onboarding clients. So how do I make more money with Facebook ads?
So yeah, this is a super common question. Like, people are like, we want to be able to get more out of it. How do we make it work for our business? Facebook advertising has evolved a lot over the last 7 to 8 years. And there's a lot, their secret sauce has always been a lot of the consumer data that they have on the back end. So, one of the first steps is implementing the pixel. If you haven't done that, Facebook has a pixel. You want to make sure that that's implemented. And what that does is it allows Facebook to run a massive amount of what they call AI or, machine learning on the back end to be able to help determine, instead of just showing ads to 1,000 people, they actually have in order, who would we show the ad to first? Who would we show it to second?
Yes.
Who would we show it to third? And I think, a lot of traditional advertising approaches it from the standpoint of, let's create one good ad, and then we're going to show it to everyone 1,000,000 times. And that's branding. With Facebook, it's very different in how they built their platform, because the number one thing that Facebook fears is that people will leave Facebook or Instagram and go somewhere else. It happened with MySpace. They don't want it to happen again. Right. So in their ad platform, it's very possible for 2 competitors to pay extremely different prices on their ads. Yep. And what Facebook cares is that you are creating ads that are relevant and valuable and interesting to their audience. If the ads are boring and dull and, just annoying, Facebook wants to penalize those users, and they want to reward the advertisers that are doing the best. So, when it comes to making money, usually what we do is we do a lot with segmentation. So there isn't necessarily just one perfect ad on Facebook. A lot of it is built around the different layers of where that person may be in their journey with your business. Meaning, there are people that don't know anything about your business. You would want to create an ad that would speak to that person. A good introduction, like walking down the street. What would you say to a person that you've never met before to get them to talk with you, versus maybe someone that's known you for years, to be able to have meaningful, valuable conversations. And so, ultimately what we call it is the funnel. The top of the funnel are these brand new people that you've never met before, don't know anything. And the bottom of the funnel would be the people that have just been to your website or have come to it frequently, that just came yesterday looking at products. So, some of the ways that when it comes to making money, what you want to make sure is you build from the bottom up. And that's, we see this mistake made a lot of the time. People get into their campaign, they turn on Facebook ads, and they say, quick, let's show ads to everyone and start going. And, that's probably the quickest way to spend a lot of money and not see the results that you want. What you want to do is build that bottom segment first. And actually the bottom one is your customers.
Right.
And this is a big thing that, we see a lot of people just completely ignore. Once they get someone to give them money, they're like, my job is done. And I'm like, that is the most valuable to your business. You can get them to share testimonials, reviews, feedback on new products. When there's something new that's coming out, they're going to be the people that share it first with all their friends that you can be able to capitalize on. And I think a lot of times people just completely forget to show ads to them. And then after that, you want people that have been to your website recently. So these are things like dynamic product ads, make sure those are up and running. or, remarketing audiences towards a short period of time, 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, and really focusing on if that person walked into your store or your website, or, they're looking for a lead gen, or they were downloading your app, if they walked in and walked out, something didn't connect. And that's what we try to do with our ads. Was it the price? Was the price too high? Was it the product? Do they not see the value in it? And we try to go back in that period of time and really invest heavily on, they came all the way up close to the finish line and turned away. What was it that kept them from there? And there isn't a perfect ad. That's another thing that I would say a lot of people, come to us being like, well, what's the perfect ad that we need to get? And I'm like, there isn't a perfect ad. You need to have answers for a lot of the questions, because you don't know if a person is only going to purchase based on price, or they're going to purchase because someone else recommended it, or because it's the best product. So you want to make sure that you have ads that kind of talk about those. And I think, in marketing world, they call it the 5 P's of marketing, product, placement, promotion, and people. And, you want to have ads that talk about each one of those and how it relates to a consumer. And a lot of times it's in that last little bit. And, one of the things we see a lot of times, people just revert to, well, we just must have to give a discount. Like we must just discount and give it. And, that's one of the 5 P's that there's 4 other ones that you can utilize, that a person may purchase at full price because another credible person that they trust recommended it, or, that you can show this product is better than all the other products out there and they want the best. So, it's not always about, just giving money off. There's a lot of things that kind of go into that, but those are some of the foundational things of what we see behind how people that are very successful and profitable in Facebook ads versus people that are like, I'm not making as much money as I want, or it's frustrating, is that building those ads in that right series to where they make money, almost like a net. You've got a really strong bottom of the net. So when you build that next layer, more fish are going to get caught by the net below, and you build upward from there. And that's usually what we see that works very well in how people are profitable with their ads.
And I think that that's very smart. And I think the 2 things that kind of like I would like to highlight there is, number one, that going back to the top of what you were talking about, which was the pixel installation. A lot of I've had objections with clients that said, I don't want tracking pixels from third-party sites on my website. And I said, well, that's adorable that you feel that way, and I really think that's cute. But do we want to the amount of information that you can gain from having that in there, and the benefits outweigh the risks. And this goes for Google. I mean, we could probably talk about all day about, after having the Google Pixel in there and then selling some things on your shop, and then the retargeting ads that you can get off the back of that are like nuts. They're so good, and you can spend very little money, and it's so useful. And LinkedIn has them, and everyone has them. But it's really important to kind of, if you're going to be jumping into a site, to understand that you're going to have to install something into your website in order to get the best spend possible and reach the right audience.
It is so true. And, there is a lot of people that are, they come from the privacy standpoint on, we're tracking information or doing anything. These are just tools that are available. And one of the benefits of online advertising, meaning there was a time that, I learned to type on a typewriter, but I would much rather do it on a computer than on a typewriter. Like, that's crazy that I even say that. But I mean, the truth is, as the tools get better, generally you want to use them. And for a business, it generally means that $1 that you spend is going to make you more money because you're doing an advanced tool versus something that maybe isn't as advanced, where it's just kind of broadcasting to everyone. And the flip side is actually the consumer as well. One of the things that I think is actually good is when I open Facebook or Instagram, I only see ads about things I care about. Whereas, sometimes when I turn on the TV or I'm listening to radio, I hear all the ads, and there's a lot of them that I have zero interest in at all, but I still hear them. And I think that's what's one of the elements that actually consumers are very used to now, is this highly personalization of ads. If you don't believe me that this happens, get your wife or your kids or, anyone else that a friend, and be like, open your news feed and scroll through it. And none of the ads that you two see will be the same. But I think a lot of times people forget that. And it does actually provide a better experience because people are seeing what they care about. And Facebook's built a system that allows that to happen on the back end, which ultimately benefits you. You're paying to show your ad to people that most likely are very interested in what you do.
Yeah, and I think the other point that I kind of pulled out that I think is really good for people to understand, and this is a thing that a lot of I've seen over the years, um, when we're looking at onboarding a client and going through the initial kind of this is what the next steps are and target audience, and when we're digging deeper, that as soon as it comes to social media, everyone forgets the marketing 101, and they forget the importance of what the target audience is, what the demographics, what's your cost per acquisition. If you don't know, how much do you net on every single one of your sales, where are your sales converting at? And these are all really important things for you to understand when you're going to go into advertising. Because I've seen people that said, I'm not making any money on advertising. I'm just like, oh my God, you're sending people there? That's terrible. It's a broken landing page. It's a 404 error I've had people do before. Or it was just, or it was based off of like, our audience needs a discount because all of our competitors are doing a discount. Well, what about your audience? Why do they shop for you? Do they shop for you for the quality or the personal touch? Then don't discount. You don't need to, give them more personal access or something. There's other ways of doing it. Like when you're talking about the P's, and it's I think demographically speaking, that is where I find a lot of companies really need to think about their audience and look at it. Because one thing too is that I've noticed with in the past when I was doing consulting for somebody, I was looking and they said, this is my target audience. And I looked at their Google Analytics and I was looking through their demo and I was kind of like, okay, this is one. And then I was looking at their Facebook demo and their Instagram demo and I was like, that's completely different.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the target for the ads, and they were exactly like the demographic for the Facebook and the Instagram. And it's like, oh, okay, so the ads are informing what your target audience is, not the marketplace. So you're saying that this is your target audience, and you're not converting. It actually isn't. So it's an interesting going through ads is always interesting. It's kind of like going into like someone's closet and looking around. It's kind of like,
for sure. Yeah.
It's like there's a treasure trove of information. But I think coming correct and understanding who your target audience is, and also having a goal in mind, I think kind of helps. Like if you're going to be like, okay, well, I want to make more sales. Again, adorable. How many sales do you want to make for $1,000 spend for a certain period? What would make sense for you? What excites you? What's a goal? Having that in mind not only helps the advertising team, but also helps you kind of mitigate your risk and understanding of the platform.
Yeah, no, I would say the number of times I've heard, someone come to me be like, I'll spend unlimited dollars once it's profitable. And I'm like, oh, I love that, right? Like we all want that. Like everyone wants to do that. And I said, the step before that is we have to figure out what we want with the tools that we have and the products that you have or the services or what you're doing, meaning there is a cap. And that's something that I think a lot of people maybe don't understand about, Facebook and Instagram is as you start to run them, there is this low hanging fruit that a lot of times you'll be able to pick up as Facebook does its thing. And then as it keeps running, you've got to do more of selling and getting person to change their perception or their mind on why they need your product, as opposed to just, ooh, that's new and it's cool, I want it, to where now, is it actually better than the competitors? Are you, and what I view is, I guess I've been doing this for so long that a lot of times we approach Facebook advertising and my job is to make a friend and to make those connections along the way. And when you think of your best friend, you didn't meet them and instantly become best friends on day one. We're like, hey, oh yeah, I met you. Let's become best friends. It was, all those little interactions that you had along the way that build up credibility, that made you trust them, that where you're like, I know they'll be there for me. I know they'll come through. They delivered on what they said they were going to do. They listened to me. It's all those things that build up over time. And, in the advertising world, a lot of what we do is very much mirrored around that, which is I'm paying to get in front of your eyeballs, as you're scrolling through social media, and I may have seconds to get something in front of you, but if I can plant that seed on we're a better product and other people recommend us. And, this is, we've got a promotion coming up, or, there's a special deal that's going to be released, or, things like that, that I keep putting in front, or what change perceptions, and where people are like, oh, okay, yeah, this is why, Reebok is better than Nike, or, and all those things are happening on the back end. And a
Right.
lot of times what's crazy is a lot of times your competitors aren't aware of it. And it's really, I think the big struggle that I see is a lot of times people come and they're like, just make money. Like, I just care about sales.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like that would be like walking out and being like, just go get me a wife. Like, if you were to say that, like, that's crazy, right? Like, there's a process that goes in there. And
Right.
in the ad world, a lot of times people just come to it and say,
Yep.
just give me the sales. Why is the cost per sales not good today? I'm like, you forget everything that you've built up, meaning every dollar that you've spent, there's value there. You've gotten someone's attention. You've paid for attention of theoretically the right people.
Mhm.
And that is building people up on that scale of, I know about your business. I know what you do. And would I, even if I don't buy it, would I recommend it to someone else that said they had that problem? Be like, oh, I've heard of this company. And there's so many kind of valuable things that happen from that. It's fascinating. I think, social ads have a lot of value over traditional ads. People can comment, people can give immediate feedback. You can run an ad and people can tear it apart.
Yep.
Like, this is the worst ad ever, and give you instant feedback on, we love this or we hate it. And to some extent, that's also probably one of the secret sauces of Facebook is if you can get people talking or engaging with your ads, if they're sharing your ads or leaving a comment underneath it, or liking and giving reactions to it, that helps lower your cost. So, just simply putting up an image ad that's like, buy my stuff, 20% off, versus a thoughtful, meaningful conversation with the CEO that's like, hey, this is why I started a company.
Right.
And I was, having trouble with this. And other people will be like, man, I've been in that same scenario. Like, you forget that it's people on the
Mhm.
other end. A lot of times people forget that. And I'm like, you can either shout at them or you can talk with them, or you can listen to them and be like, give me your feedback. And that's something that's so powerful that it doesn't really exist with other advertising channels that, you get the ability to take advantage of with social.
Yeah, and your other types of advertising example. I was talking to an associate of mine, and he was saying, "Can you take a look at this ad and tell me what you think?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." So I took a look at it, and it was, I said, "Who created this ad for you?" And he's like, "Oh, this is the one that we're using in the catalog. We're using in this magazine. We're using over here." And I said, "Well, this isn't a magazine. This is social media. So how are you going to make this engaging for your audience?" "Oh, well, I just thought it's a placement. So we're just doing an advertising placement." And I said, "Well, if you do that, you're just going to turn people off, because that's not how they're consuming information when they're in Facebook or when they're in LinkedIn. They're looking at it a different way. So you have to meet people where they are in the time where they're at."
Mhm.
And I mean, if I'm flipping through a magazine, of course, I'm looking at it completely differently. I'm holding something that's tangible. There's a smell associated with it. There's a finish on the magazine. There's a different experience with it.
100%.
And with social, it's completely different. So I think when I've talked with large firms before with large advertising budgets, and they say, "Well, I want you to copy exactly what we're doing in our magazine spread." And I said, "Well, does that mean you want me to kind of build a target audience around the readership of a title like that, or do you just want me to copy the creative?" "Oh no, just the creative, and we just get it out there." And it's like, well, there's two sides to this ad here, folks. There's what it looks like, and then how it's communicating that messaging to the audience that I've
Yeah.
created and associated with it. So you can go through, and what will happen is because people can get very dangerous where they're looking through that. "Oh, I found where you can see everybody's ads in one place and you can search it." And I'm like, "You're not seeing the whole thing."
Yeah.
Well, this ad is this. I know this company is making $10,000 off of this ad. So can we do the same sort of ad? I think my budget's about $150 for the month. That's not what's going to get the same result. There's a lot of things that are at play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about, moving off of Facebook slightly, but kind of like Facebook versus Google grudge match, death match. what do you feel is better and more beneficial for a company, Facebook or Google ads?
Actually, it's a great question. This is another one that, we get, asked quite a bit.
Oh, sure.
They're both different tools. So how I always describe them is, it'd be like a hammer and a saw, right? Like
Okay.
both are tools that you would use if you're building a house, but you use them for different things. The value of Google, the short version is Google ads are generally a little bit more expensive, cost per click. Facebook are a little bit lower. So a lot of times people will automatically come and be like, oh, Facebook ads are cheaper. They're less expensive. Do that. But what happens is you can get a lot of times a higher quality. On Google ads, you're bidding based off keywords or what they call paid search. So people are typing in, I'm looking for a vacation to the Bahamas or a hotel in the Bahamas, right? If you are a hotel in the Bahamas, that's exactly who you want to show your ad to. They're raising their hand saying, I'm looking for a hotel. You want to be able to get your ads in front of them and make sure that you're there for those keywords. Now, the downside is everyone else that has a hotel in the Bahamas is also like, let's go there. And, the price can go up, but they're theoretically the exact people that you want to go after. And my rule of thumb is every business has keywords on Google that will be profitable, hands down, that will bring them business, even if they're paying and maybe it costs them more, meaning it's a loss leader. You get a customer that stays at a hotel that maybe a year later will come back and come back again and come back again. And you've gotten them into your world. So I still think Google ads I love Google ads. I mean, they work fantastic. On the other side is kind of Facebook, which uses a lot of kind of back end data. So what they're trying to do a lot of times is determine, we think this person is going to want to take a trip to the Bahamas at some point in time, based on they've been looking at a couple websites about things to do in the Bahamas, or have been looking at photos of the Bahamas, of beaches there. And so what they're doing is trying to guesstimate, we think this person is about to be in this category of wanting to know information. Let's show our ads and see if it works. So, I mean, ultimately, that's kind of what happens on both ends. They both are efficient. They both work well. A lot of times what we do is we actually build strategies between both of them. So, with custom audiences, you can create custom audiences based off UTM variables. So that means people that are clicking on your Google ads, which are very, very expensive, you can create a custom segment and be like, if they clicked for one of our Google ads, but, maybe they didn't purchase, we're going to create a campaign and we go after those people extremely heavily. Like, we want to put money to make sure that we're reaching them every day, because we know they're right in that period of time where they're about to make a decision on, maybe where they're going to stay. And we want to get in front of them with, here's a tour, here's what your room looks like, here's the amenities, and there can be multiple ads that are shown to that person in that period of time.
Now, another thing, just to layer this on, is something that we've kind of been dealing with quite a bit. We have a lot of product-based companies that are focused on shopping. Now, and I know that obviously both of the platforms, and I'm sure everyone that's watching, listening, know that there are options for advertising shops and products for purchase on Google and Facebook / Instagram. What do you feel is a more seamless transaction in terms of, once you place the shopping ads on either Google or Facebook, what do you feel has the longer tail, so to speak, I guess?
So I think both options are good. With Google, you've got the Google shopping ads, which appear when people are searching for terms. They can see images, they can see the price, they click on it, go right to your website and be able to purchase. On Facebook's end, they have what they call dynamic product ads. And you can run those for people that have viewed a product and left. So where it's like a reminder. You can also run those for new broad audiences. So, if I'm selling, a red pair of, sneakers, if there's other people searching on the internet for red sneakers, Facebook will detect that and show my ad to those people, being like, here's another product you may be interested in. So, they have both. Facebook and Instagram, introduced what they call, Facebook or Instagram shops now, where you have the ability to direct them into, your e-commerce site, or you have the ability to integrate it and that person can complete the order right inside of Facebook or Instagram, where they see a product, they click a button, your name, your address, and your credit card are all on file, and you hit a button and in one click, it's ordered and on its way to you. it sounds promising. And I know some advertisers that are using it that have said they've seen, kind of good results. It's still fairly new, but I feel like it's a big step in moving Facebook and Instagram a step closer to kind of Amazon, where all that information's on file and it's a one-click purchase, and to kind of go from there. My only downside with it is it doesn't really feel like Facebook and Instagram have put a ton of resources on it. Like e-commerce isn't their main thing that they're doing, and they have their hands in so many areas now that I've always felt like if they really, dialed it in and put a lot of resources in that area, they could do extremely well. And it always feels like it's kind of this like a secondary thought, or we'll get to that one later. We'll do a little bit just to see if we can push it forward. But it has tremendous potential if all the things lined up and if consumers really adopt it and say, this is great. Yeah, I'll click a button and order it in the same way that I would on Amazon, which has the ability to be really good down the road.
Yeah, and it's really refreshing to hear that, actually, because one of the things that anytime someone asks about integrating a shop into Facebook or Instagram, I immediately go, "Oof," because it's not simple.
Yeah.
It's very, very challenging. And just kind of like give a shout out to anybody that's trying to do this on their own. God bless you. It's challenging even for people that know what they're doing. Because you need to have all these secret access levels that you never knew that you needed or
It's
even
100%
existed.
true. Yeah.
And then
that's
also,
kind of, when I talk about like on Facebook's end, it's like they're like, we can connect it with this one path, and like 80% of people will never be able to make it through that one path, but we did it. We can do a press release about it. And that's kind of the stuff where I'm like, if you actually sat down with a team and looked at it, like you'd be like, it doesn't really work as good as you would want it to do. And it's frustrating. We have a bunch of people that have run into problems or with access levels, and it can turn into a pretty hefty project.
Yeah, it really can. And and this is something kind of like a buyer beware scenario. If you've had 14 different people working on your Facebook account, chances are you're going to have misery when you're trying to create your shop.
Very true.
I mean, if I had if I had a penny for every time actually someone said, "Oh, I don't know who that is," when I'm asking for, well, this person has admin access on your business account. Oh, I don't know. Let me check. Does anybody know who this is? I don't know who this. I don't know. Can you just ask for the access? Can't. Sorry. It happens quite often. So I think making sure that your Facebook is clean before you're able to set up your shop is usually a more straightforward way of moving. I've had clients that wanted okay, well, I have we have our shop is built on this platform. I know it integrates with Facebook Go, and it's okay. That's wonderful. And I know you want to do the shoppable tags and all that good stuff. But there's this access level. Your account is not built for this, so we have to transfer it to that. It's like there's lots of movement. And this is where I think Facebook's really screwing up, because I feel that if they, like you said, put more resources in that arena, it just could be a little bit easier for us to access it.
And I mean, their approach usually is just start making something and let's roll it out and see if it works or not, and kind of go from there. So I mean, I get that, in the tech world of move stuff forward and build momentum, and before you go all in. They've tried a couple times with the e-commerce world. So, every time I get my hopes up and then it's kind of fizzled or gone away, and then they try again and it's fizzled. And so, this is the latest version of it. And I'm like, man, in theory, it could work great. But yeah, some of the setup's been kind of a headache, and it's a little tricky. I feel like when it happens with that, it just, it's time in the day. And, if your time's spent working on a frustrating process that doesn't really integrate right, you're quick to give up on it. And if it's not there, consumers aren't using it. So, I think time will tell on how much Facebook really puts into this. But I think it has potential. And, for people that are listening, if you're a business and you're selling something, the two types of ads that you want to get up and running immediately before anything else are Google Shopping ads and dynamic product ads on Facebook. Those two are the ones that will bring you the absolute most profit. That are, there's a secret right there where when you run those, you'll be like, these are great. If you're running any sort of ads and not running those two, you should pause the other ones get those ones up and running, those two. And you'll be happy because that'll start bringing you in revenue, a high amount of revenue for every dollar spent, because they're just very efficient and effective at what they do and how they work.
Mhm.
So you want to make sure you get those in and then expand on that as you keep trying to grow.
Now, here's another question. As while we're talking about Facebook, why aren't Facebook ads working for my business? And this is interesting too, because this is a question I don't really get this as a question, like why aren't they working? I
Mhm.
get, I'm not doing Facebook ads. They don't work.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I get.
Yeah.
So what say you, Brian?
So like, yeah, a lot of times we hear, Facebook ads just don't work for my business. And when I hear that, it always makes me sad. And ultimately, I think it comes from a couple of places. Because my stance is there is a part in Facebook where the ads will be very profitable for you. You just haven't found it yet, or you haven't utilized it yet. And the beginning of it is, Facebook, the ad system is complicated. Like, it's big, it changes all the time. There's a lot of noise, a lot of people saying, oh, I know this one secret hack, and this is the secret to all Facebook ads. I mean, man, then if I had a penny for every time I've heard that over the last 7 years, I'd be doing all right. So, there's always someone that's like, I know this one secret. And the truth is, in our world, there is nothing that's worked forever. The only things that really work forever are make sure you segment and get the right segments of audiences, and then two, build really good creatives that will go to those people that they'll find valuable. That's really the two secret sauces of what we do with the clients that we work with. And we work with a lot of, 5 and 6 figure, 7 figure spenders, a month, that are pumping a lot into Facebook.
Mhm.
And it takes that to be able to get out the results they want.
Sure.
So, when people say it doesn't work, usually there's a couple of things in that line, right? So, there's the product and the service, which, just because I opened up a drop shipping site, doesn't mean everyone in the world is going to love my product and I'm going to become the next, Elon Musk for my drop shipping site, right? Or because I created something that I think is cool, the market, maybe everyone's like, that we don't want that, or it's way too expensive versus what we would ever pay for that, or our perceived value is very low. So, I think that there's that product that's number one. And that's ultimately everything we're doing is leading up to that. So if the product is off, there's an issue. But, a step back from there is the landing page or the website,
Oh yeah.
where you have the information about it, where people can get their questions answered. Can they chat with someone if they want to know more about it? Like, all those things build up your conversion rates. And then a step behind that is the ads. What are we actually showing to people to, create interest, build desire, make them want it, have some mystery behind it, or a hook that says, this can help your life be better. For consumers, it's always, we call it with them, what's in it for me. That's, whenever we build our ads, we always are trying to put that in there. We're not the hero of the story. The consumers are the hero of the story. And whatever we're selling to them is a tool that will make their life better. That they'll be able to level up. They'll be able to go further. They'll be happier or healthier because of that product or service being in their life. And that's what we always try to remember when we're creating our ads, is what is it that consumers want to know or are looking for to fill that, desire that they have inside. So, there's all those steps together. And so when people say their ads aren't working, usually what we do is we take a step back and say, let's look at this. Like,
Yeah.
we're getting 5 to 10% click-through rates on our ads, and we have a 0.01 conversion rate on the website. Like, I can tell you where the problem's coming from, right?
Yeah.
Like, we need to look at that and figure out how to resolve that. And what's cool is the data's all there. So, I mean, there's enough tools now that are free that you can utilize to look at, are we doing a good job of getting people to come? Are we doing a job of people to convert? Are people wanting the product or service at the end? And then are they buying it again because they found it valuable? Those are all the things that, we look at and try to bring back into that equation on when people say why my ads don't work.
And I think a really important thing to take from this, everyone that's listening and watching, is that the value in finding someone, an agency to manage this for you, because there is multiple steps in everything. There's nuances to everything. for example, you were talking about the secret sauce and how everyone has their secret hacks. They work for like 10 days and then
Yep.
they're obsolete. And
That's
then
right.
you have to change everything back. And this happens on a regular basis. Here's the thing. You should be focused on your business. You should be focused on managing your marketing. If you're a a head of director or whatever the hell you are, if you have all these different irons in the fire, the last thing you want to be doing is pumping the brakes and stopping completely to figure out how Facebook is going to work for your business.
Yeah.
I think that, and also understand too, that when you're going to a company to manage your Facebook ads accounts, you're not going to the freaking madmen firm that's going to pitch you how to perfectly sell your product in this
Yeah.
image. Look at this visual. It's not that. It's that they understand how to use the analytical data and numbers to then suggest what is best for you. So
Yeah.
this is, I would say, more of a low risk venture than that Mad Men scenario, because you're going to be actually working off of, I mean, anytime that I do advertising, you do advertising, we're looking at all the analytics first,
Yeah.
because that's where the truth lies. And that's where the truth hurts too, by the way. But you can find out a lot. And so what is going to be suggested is things that you may never even knew that you had access to in terms of information. The
Yeah.
information that you can get from someone, if Brian was to do an audit of your advertising, the information that he could give you would be very eye-opening for your business. Even if you
Yeah.
think you have a
And I think,
really firm grasp on what's going on.
yeah, and this is something where I've always been, a big fan of agencies. And I think, part of the reason why it's so critical is now there's so many tools in all the digital world,
Yep.
whether it's SEO or web development or app development or this, like your business will be successful if you're working with people smarter than you. Right. And there are people that are like, in the whole world of stuff that I could work on, I work on this one thing and that's all I do continually, which means you'll most likely pay less because they know all the answers. They're going to get you to that end goal in that world a whole lot sooner than someone that's like, well, I know a ton about everything, but they have to go into that one area and try to figure it out and spend more time. And, maybe they don't know some of the secrets. Like, on our end, what's so awesome is that we get to work with, we've worked with thousands of different clients across all different verticals.
Right.
And there's stuff that we see legal clients do that work amazing for, events or these different overlaps where people have elements to their business that work very, very well that we can translate and transfer into other areas. One of the most common ones is, on Facebook's end, they will always recommend never have a video be more than, 30 seconds, keep it short. People don't spend a lot of time.
Yeah.
We had a company that was putting out these, 7 to 5 minute, 7-minute, 10-minute videos where a person would be using their product and walking through everything. Now we didn't have as many views as the 30-second one, but the conversion rate was huge because people that cared about it would stop and watch. And at the end of that, they're like, I know what that product does. All my questions were answered. I'll buy it. I'll order it. And we've been able to utilize that into other campaigns and create sometimes these longer videos that are counterculture to, there's no one has time on Facebook. It's all quick and fast. Right. To be like, if someone does have time, or how do we get that longer video to people that we know already care about our product? So maybe not to everyone, but to that warmest audience. And we see tremendous results from that because people at the end of that are like, you took the time to explain everything about the product. Yeah, I'd pick that up. That's worthwhile for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's awesome. So my thing is always, work with the experts. There's agencies for almost probably anything you could want or utilize. And there is value in doing that because then it takes it off your plate and allows you to kind of, run your business and focus on the high level. Where do I need to be expanding? Where do I need to be growing? What needs to happen next to really take me to that next level, as opposed to getting bogged down with, a lot of these, just real, nitty gritty details. And a lot of our clients have been, CEOs that were like, hey, I'm managing on my own. And it's taking too much of my time. Like I realize it's a beast to handle and I want to hand it off and have someone else do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think something else for people to understand as well, as the world changes and as we all become kind of closer through virtual connections,
Yeah.
uh, agencies are learning that we need to collaborate with one another on campaigns rather than the world, maybe let's say 10 years ago, when it was like, I have the secret SEO firm I'm working with, and I have the secret web developer that I'm never going to put you in touch with
Yeah.
because what am I going to do? Talk to them? But now everyone's kind of understanding that they can be transparent with their hand. They can show that they're
Yeah.
collaborating with different suppliers. And let me tell you, 95% of my clients work with multiple suppliers,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I work with them. I know that they're, for example, one of our clients is a gaming brand, internationally renowned, whoop-de-doo, really fantastic client. They are working with a PR firm. I contact the PR firm once a week to see what placements they got,
Yeah.
what publications they're going after. That informs our advertising, the content that we're creating, the editorial calendar, how we're promoting things. It just it's seamless now. So I don't think that I think that one thing I would always be aware of is one-stop shopping.
Yeah.
Unless the one-stop shopping works with partners that they're transparent about and will act as a project manager for you. I think that and we've done that in the past too. We've been project manager with lots of different,
Mhm.
and I love projects like that because everyone is a complete nerd in their own area. So everyone can kind of just like, it's like a knowledge swap that's so useful for the client. But I think using an agency is fantastic, but don't be afraid to use more than one if you need multiple areas. Just
Yeah.
make sure that you let everybody know about one another, because before you know it, they could be like, "Oh, you need social media? I could do social media for you."
Yeah, totally. Man,
Yeah.
and it's funny you say that,
Right.
because I think, from business owners, a big shift has happened, meaning, 5 years ago, it was kind of like quick, hold everything inside, all that
Yep.
business needs to be ours. And I think as some of these tools have gotten so in depth and so advanced, and so much that goes into them, and that not just tools, but I mean, in every sort of vertical in the digital world,
Yeah.
whether it be, social media or influencers or SEO or web hosting or, mobile optimization, like, so much different stuff in there. I always love working with other agencies. When someone's like, "Hey, we've got these two other people that are handling this," it's like, cool, what can we share? And
Mhm.
we'll do meetings together. I'm like, these are the ads that we're seeing working best. These are the segments they go back. The PR teams do better. Like, it's actually more fun when you're working with other experts. It's like you're
Completely
on an
agree.
all-star team and everyone knows they're all experts at their position. And you're like, it's fun when you start to win. And everything is working together. Meaning if they're getting more PR, that means more people are coming to the website, means more pixels are getting fired. You can
Yep.
show better ads. Like, everything is scaling up together. And yeah, the one thing that I would say is it's a lot more fun when you're winning than when you're trying to piece stuff together. And it's like, and having multiple agencies, I've seen it multiple times work really, really well for the client.
Yeah, it really does. And I think that another thing to kind of keep in mind, especially when you're dealing, because I want to talk about kind of like budgets and things. But one thing I want to talk about is, just a hot tip for everybody out there. If you're hiring an agency, and maybe you have a marketing team, but maybe you would have to bring in someone that would be handling your advertising, and that would be their specialist thing. If you're hiring an agency, you don't have to pay them healthcare. You don't have to pay for their equipment. You don't have
Yep.
to pay for any of the workers' compensation. There's no annual bonuses unless you're nice,
Yep.
and et cetera, et cetera. So the cost saving is really truly across the board. Plus, you don't have to burden your team with that,
Yeah.
because sometimes bringing another person onto your team, there's sociological issues. There could be behavior. You have to reprimand them. You have to train them. This is plug and play.
Yep.
Obviously, there is a knowledge transfer that needs to happen, but just understand that, because I think that's something that's very valuable, because the knowledge that you will get from an agency, advertising or otherwise, is going to be beyond, and they'll be able to give you kind of just insight as to maybe other elements of your marketing as well and how it can be executed.
Yeah, 100%. I always like having, even for our own business, other perceptions, other point of views, someone else to be like, "Hey, can you do a once over on this? What do you see? What's missing?" And I mean, a lot of times the agency, there's multiple people involved in the working of your account, and you want that. You want to have different perceptions, different people sharing feedback, different people helping creating ad copy. It's not necessarily just one person. It's like, oh, always, be the best. In social, we can track and test a lot of different things. The other thing I always tell people is, like what you're saying with the business side of it, which is great, which, the hiring, the extra paperwork, all of that. If they accept credit cards, you get the points and the miles that you can use later on for whatever you want. So, I mean, there's a lot of upsides there when you're able to do it. And generally, they're up and running in a short period of time. And, agencies, do business on the way agencies make money are by keeping your business, to keep working with you, to keep exceeding your goals. And I think that's something that businesses want. You want someone that's like, I want to earn your business every month. I want to keep going because that allows me to keep growing my business, as opposed to just give me my paycheck and if I can keep making it through, that's great. So I've always been very optimistic. I hire a bunch of agencies on my own. So
me as well. Okay, so let's talk about let's get back to some platform stuff. So another question that we got from the audience was, should I be advertising on TikTok, Pinterest, or Snapchat?
So this is a great question. There's a bunch of new platforms that everyone's been kind of evolving, after Facebook kind of did the proof of model that paid social works. Snapchat was right behind them. Of course, that was kind of followed with TikTok. Let me kind of break it down, some of the other platforms kind of one by one. TikTok's a newer platform, tremendous growth on the organic side. Ads are all vertical. It skews a lot younger, but very much like Instagram, it's growing. There's now, older people that are on there. A lot of the content is sortable by hashtags. So, you can go after some of the options that you want. When you target your ads, you have categories. The cost on TikTok is still relatively inexpensive. Right before, the end of the year last year, they were doing we'll match your ad spend. So if you spend $5,000, we'll give you $5,000 free, trying to get their revenue numbers up, which was great. So, that's free money for advertisers. We have noticed a couple bugs sometimes with the ads where, we'll set some targeting and they'll show in a different country or things like that we have to go back and work for it. So, just realize it's a newer platform and, they're building as people are using it. So, the likelihood that something could break is high. Again, it kind of really boils down to the ads. The best ads on TikTok don't look or feel like ads.
Nope.
They look and feel kind of like the organic content that's on TikTok. And for anyone that's maybe listening that hasn't been on there, just spend 30 minutes kind of scrolling through stuff on TikTok and you'll get a style for how people do stuff. It's usually kind of this condensed, fun content. I'm going to dance while I point out the 3 tips on what you should do in real estate, or, how to buy stocks, or, all sorts of beauty tips or things like that. Like it's fun, kind of not taking yourself maybe too seriously or trying to challenge other people. But TikTok, I see tons of potential for, meaning I'd say a year or 2 years from now, much, much bigger than it is now. And do good. Pinterest works really well with kind of the female audience, very visual heavy. So, you've got videos, images that you can get on there. You can do it based off categories. They do have a pixel and conversion tracking. So you can start to do some conversions off of that. Again, the ROI isn't necessarily as high as it is with Facebook or Instagram, but it can still be close. Especially for things like fashion, beauty, fitness, kind of some of those categories that are very core in nature, are very visual. Snapchat is another one. Their ad platform's gotten a lot better in terms of trying to help be able to determine, who are buyers and who's coming through there. They've got some great tools for creativity on creating fun ads that I always like to use. Different filters, different, effects, things like that a lot of times can be utilized on other platforms. And the last one that, man, I've really been excited about recently is Amazon. And I think this is kind of a little one that's hidden off in the corner that, you generally don't hear a ton of people talking about. But if you sell a product and have your own e-commerce website, getting it onto the Amazon, website through Seller Central You can only run Amazon ads for products that exist and are sold on Amazon. But man, it is tremendous the amount of volume that these guys do. And with the ads, the ability to turn on the keywords exactly for what your ads do and to pick up a large amount of sales that are happening every day by
Mhm.
simply appearing number one or on that first page of those search terms is tremendous. And I'm continually amazed because I think ultimately people that are selling a product just want to sell products.
Right.
And to be able, with Amazon, when you set up ads the right way, everything's keyword based. So very similar to Google, but man, there are some tremendous, conversion rates. We've seen conversion
Mhm.
rates go as high as like 40% on some ads, which is just incredible when you think about it. That, 4 out of 10 people are buying a product when you have the right things in place, the right product, right price, maybe a coupon attached to it, things like that. And you're appearing number one on the page. People are clicking, adding it, buying it, and they're on their way. And you're picking up those sales. So Amazon is one that I've really been excited about for where I think it'll be 5 years from now.
Right. I no, I completely agree with you. Here's another Amazon thing that I've heard before. Okay. And I know why, but I want you to explain it because I think a lot of people miss this. I've heard people say, "Hey, I say, okay, well, where would you like us to send the traffic for your ads? Where's your point of, where's your conversion point that you want us to focus on?" Oh, we're working on the shopping part of our website right now, so just send all of our traffic to Amazon. So we're doing Facebook ads that are sending traffic to Amazon. Why is that not a good idea,
So
Brian?
you can't track the conversions. Um, yeah, so Amazon doesn't let you drop the pixel data on their own site. So it's kind of a little bit of a black hole. You're sending people in and you don't necessarily know what they're doing or what's going on. Now, Amazon did come out with an attribution tool. Man, I'd say probably a couple months ago,
Okay.
which now you can start to create your own links to say these are from Facebook and use that in your ads, which will track it now. So, that was before that. And I mean, they haven't had that. They've had their ad platform for, I don't know, probably
Oh yeah.
7 years, 10 years, maybe. And it's been very basic. This was a big tool that when it came out was like, finally, I can run ads on Pinterest or Snapchat and see who's ordering when
Hmm.
they get to Amazon. So it's a little bit more of the top of the funnel. Right. So
Yeah.
on Amazon ads, a person is typing in, I want a yo-yo. And if you sell a yo-yo or a yo-yo with light up, neon lights, if you sell a yo-yo with neon lights, that's exactly who you want to pay to get in front of and have your product appear right at the top where they're like, cool, that's it. I'm on my way and I'm going. Whereas, with Facebook, you're going to people that may have watched a yo-yo video or that Facebook is guessing these are people who we think are similar to it. So, in that scenario, running Amazon ads is always going to be, I think, the most profitable, but there
Mhm.
is value because Facebook's algorithm takes into account traffic and volume to products. So if you have a yo-yo and 100,000 people a day are visiting your Amazon product listing and the next competitor has 500 people a day, you're going to much more likely rank higher than that
Mhm.
other product. And Amazon wants to sell the products that people are going to buy, that
Right.
people find interesting and that they're picking up and ordering. And so there's a lot that goes into that, but ultimately sending in traffic from Facebook can still be very valuable to your overall strategy.
Yeah, I think the and one addition thing I'll throw in there is make sure that your ad is very transparent as to where people are going and what you're
Yep.
looking at, because it's very similar to how websites are ranked. If you have a really high bounce rate, meaning you go to the website and it's like, oh, no, I'm out of here. Amazon
Yeah.
also tracks that. So if you're getting like you're sending tons and tons of traffic because your ad is just I cannot stop touching it.
Yep.
And you're getting all these click throughs and you're going to the Amazon listing, you're like, nah. Well, Amazon's gonna go, oh wow, everyone's going to this page and no one's buying it. We're gonna push it down
Yep.
in the results page. So just be careful when you're creating the ads. But definitely getting that link that's trackable for Amazon is an absolute must. And I do agree, if you do have a product and it's on Amazon, You should be advertising on Amazon. I think that
Yeah.
that is a very, very powerful thing. And I know people feel like they're putting all of their eggs in one basket. Well, guess what? You have already, because you're selling
Yeah.
on Amazon. You've already drank the Kool-Aid, folks. So,
Yeah.
now, what goes with Kool-Aid? You know what I mean? Advertising. So it's definitely something you don't want to forget about. And then you also mentioned TikTok and Snapchat, but I really do feel like TikTok is a massive opportunity for people, and it's you said go on there for a few, like 30 minutes and just kind of like look through it. I think getting familiar with these platforms and getting more comfortable with them
Mhm.
is something that's very important for businesses. Just from my own experience with TikTok, when it first came out, I was just like, okay, everyone's like, oh, this is going to be the next big thing, and I was like, I've been around for a while. I've heard
Yeah,
the next
I've
best.
heard that a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was an early adopter of Google Plus back in the old wild, wild
Right.
west. But no, it took a little bit of exposure to that for me to understand. I know exactly how the campaigns would work on here. I know exactly how to curate the content. I know exactly
Yep.
how to create campaigns. And now we're offering campaigns.
Yeah.
And I think that even from a person with a marketing background, it took me some exposure to that platform to understand it. Here's the thing, they're going to be, well, because and I mean, I don't know, however everyone looks to China right now, they are obviously using TikTok as power users. And
Mhm.
so a lot of the features that they have are going to be rolled out to the US version. And one of them is this one-click tab shopping that goes directly. And it is the easiest shopping that I've seen. It is so good and it's so exciting that it's worth looking at it. Is it going to become more expensive? Yeah, advertising will become more expensive. Like, this is for the people right now that
Oh
are
yeah.
early adopters, and these are the winners. Everyone that's in here right now is going to be a winner, because, like you said, that matching. I mean, come on.
Mhm.
Clients could do double as much. They put 10,000, get $20,000 worth of advertising. It's nuts. So,
Yeah.
plus you get $500 for free. Um, of course, that's probably going to be panned out pretty quickly. I'm sure it's probably already done. But yeah, there's lots of opportunities and platforms that you may not think are good platforms. And it's only for kids. So was Facebook, and now look, it's only
That's
for
right.
grandmas.
That's
I mean,
exactly right.
not necessarily, but you know what I'm saying. It starts broadening. It starts
Yeah.
getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and I think I think a lot of times people forget that there are ad platforms on a lot of stuff like Reddit, LinkedIn, Pandora, Spotify. Like a lot of these other ones have ad platforms that you can be able to utilize if you feel like there's a good kind of set with your audience and who you're going after. So I mean, I feel like most ad platforms, there's probably a segment somewhere in there that could work for your business, and maybe it's an introduction. It's just, hey, find new people that may be interested in this, bring them out, and then we show them the more advanced ads somewhere else.
Yep.
But I think there's value in every ad platform running on some level,
Right.
to be able to bring something back to your business.
Yep, I completely agree. I mean, Brian, you've been so great on the episode. There's so many good answers, lots of food for thought. I've made notes.
Nice.
I've made notes. So tell the people where they can learn more about you and AdvertiseMint.
Nice. Well, I mean, you guys can find me, Brian Meert, Meert, on probably any social platform. I've grabbed that name for a while. So you can look me up, follow me there. AdvertiseMint is my company, advertisemint.com, with a MINT, not a MENT. A lot of people get that switched up. But yeah, we've got a ton of information. We got a great blog. We send out, we have a lot of resources and infographics that we've created on advertising that people are able to utilize for free. And then I've got a book that's on Amazon called The Complete Guide to Facebook Advertising. I rewrite this book every year. I've done it a couple times.
Sure you do.
It's a doozy to do because it changes so much. But I really tried to answer a lot of these commonly asked questions that I was getting from people on how do I set it up, how do I make money for me right now, and what do I should I be doing, and how do I understand the tools behind it. So that's on Amazon if you want to check it out. It's a couple of bucks, and it's a great resource to be able to have for you and your team if you're looking for that. But other than that, if you have questions, feel free to reach out through the website. And I'm always interested in chatting up Facebook ads and talking to cool business owners that are like, here are the struggles that we're having, and what can we do to help, get better results than we're getting now.
Excellent, Brian. And also, folks, if you are watching this or listening to this, you can get links to Brian's website and everything else in the description of this show. How exciting. Click, learn more about Brian. Folks, we have tons of new episodes coming up. Again, we come out every single Thursday evening. So, set your watches for whatever time I'm going to put it out. I didn't tell you the time because I may change it. So we have all of our past shows on YouTube. So please subscribe to our channel and also anywhere podcasts are downloaded. So hit subscribe, et cetera, et cetera. Also, take a look at gosalesandmarketing.com. On our website are all the social links as well as the pop-up chat and our contact form. I want questions. I want topics you want me to cover, future episodes, all of this stuff. It's like a free hour of consulting with an expert. Like, why not? Why wouldn't you pose a question? It's time. And thank you for everyone that has posed questions in the past. We're going to be formulating them into upcoming shows. Hooray, hooray. So tune in for those. Again, Brian, thank you so much for being a guest. You've been great on the show today. And folks, I can't stop and I won't stop, but I got to go. Till next time.